All right. Hello, Team Talk Tuesday. It is May 21st. I was going to be like May 21st at 9:07 p.m. Not that that's important, but I was looking at my calendar. All right. So I'm really excited for the conversation tonight because, we're going to be talking about messaging. And I know that there are a lot of new people on our team who are watching this or watching the recording, and a lot of people who are also restarting. And so messaging is kind of a hot topic, right? Because it's something that, well, first, raise your hand if you were really scared to message when you first started the business. Yep. Okay. Raise your hand if you are restarting the business and you're nervous to message. Totally. Okay. So that's so normal, right? It's so normal to be uncomfortable with messaging because it's just not something that we normally do. And I think that it's really important that we kind of have that conversation about what's effective messaging, why we do it, why it's important, how it grows your business. So I first want to start off by saying that, remember that we are, even though this is a relationship business and even though this isn't like a job, you have to remember that as a Juice Plus rep, that is your job, right? This is your job to share fruits and vegetables in a capsule with people. So when you have a job, you have specific duties to do, right? And so sometimes so for example, when I worked in human resources, I hated firing people. I hated it. Like, I didn't want to do it. It made me extremely uncomfortable. Sometimes I even cried after I fired people, but it was part of my job and I had to do it. So I had to put my human resources hat on, pull my big girl panties up, go fire somebody, and then I could cry in the bathroom afterwards. Not that anybody's going to cry after messaging, but the point of that is that even though we are in a relationship business and even though this is a very personal business, it's still a business. So you have to remember that when you message somebody, you're not being spammy, you're not being pushy, you're not harassing somebody, you're being professional. And that's a really important distinction. And when you have that mentality that you're coming from a place of love, but you're also being professional, you're never going to come across as pushy or anything like that. So I first want to just kind of let me silence my phone so it doesn't go off, kind of get our mindset in that mentality, because that's going to help you push through that, right? To realize that, like, it's my job to follow up with this person. It's my job to send them a message. They need to know about what I'm doing. If they don't know what you're doing, they're never going to say anything to you. They're never going to ask you about Juice Plus. They're never going to want to learn more. So always remember that it's okay. I give you all permission, with love from the heart and authenticity, to put your professional Juice Plus hats on and send messages to people. Okay. So why do we send messages? Because we have to communicate with people. So if you don't want to send messages, that's fine, but you have to find another way to communicate with people. If you're having conversations with, 10 people a day in person and you're getting orders that way, then that's great. You don't need to message people. But the reality is that nobody's doing that. I mean, you can have conversations in person all day long, but at some point you're probably going to have to send them a message, either sending them a link to order, asking them if they're ready to order, sending them a video to get more information. You're going to have to do something. So messaging just exists in our business. It just does. And you just kind of have to be okay with it. And remember that it's just the form of communication to get the information to the person that you need to, and to help them learn more about the product and help them learn about how it can benefit them and help them place their order. So it is a form of communication that is very, very important. I want to ask Aisa, I know that you're on the call. If you're able to speak, you're muted right now. I know that Aisa was just sending out messages. And Aisa, are you available to talk, or are you with the little one? Hi. Okay. I'm gonna unmute you. Oh wait. Okay. You're good. Wait. Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay. So
I'm on my phone and not on my laptop. So
no. That's totally okay. So I don't want to put you on the spot, Aisa, but I know that you just had a great kind of breakthrough with Rachel. So tell me, how are you feeling about messaging people when you first joined the business?
At first, it was more of, how do I sound professional? Because most of the people starting off is like family and friends. And how do I sound like it's not just, like that I'm serious about what I'm doing.
Yes. I love it. I love it.
So
And how did you break through that?
Just going to Rachel and having her help me with the verbiage.
Perfect. Okay. That is exactly what I wanted you to say. I did not groom her for this, by the way. So that is really important, you guys, because as you know, this business, we are not supposed to do this business by ourselves. That's not how it's meant to be. I don't know anyone on the planet who's been successful in any business who started and done it themselves. You are supposed to lean on your upline. You are supposed to, ask them for verbiage. You are supposed to talk with them, multiple times a day if you can. But not doing it yourself is really important because one, it's going to make sure that you feel supported and that you feel confident in what you're sending to people. Two, it makes sure that we know that what you're sending people is not going to sound spammy or not going to sound unprofessional because we've all done it and we've all really mastered what good verbiage should sound like. And it's really important to let your upline help you, especially when you're in the beginning. I know that Rachel probably like hand fed you verbiage and then you probably kind of got the hang of it. But it's super, super important. When I first started, when Ashlyn and Veronica and, everyone who's in my direct downline first started, I would send you guys specific verbiage, right? And that's something that you need to let your upline help you with because that's really, really important. And it's going to make it easier to send those messages out. Oh no, I knew I should have written these down. My next, I'm going over them in my head. Kelsey, do you remember one of the other ones that I was supposed to talk about with messaging?
We were just going to ask, I remember this morning we talked about it and I said, I wanted to know, and you could raise your hands. I want to know who got in this business to cover your own costs. And you can totally be honest about this. You got in your business to cover your own costs. Awesome. Now, who got in this business to help other people? Couple more hands. Okay. Who got in this business to make a killer paycheck? Okay. So messaging is going to be required. And like Kristen's saying, opening your doors for business, right, is going to be required at any level. I know Joy Kelly says this all the time, but if you don't have any customers, guess what? You're not helping anybody get healthier. And if you don't have any customers, chances are it's because your doors to your business are not open. Like we don't have a storefront. I mean, you can wear all the Juice Plus or like get up gear you want, but that still doesn't tell people what you do. It just tells people what you're wearing, right? And so it's really, really important to be intentional. And the messages that like we were sending out today, or even that Stacy mentioned of just saying, hey, how's it going? I hope you have a great day. All that's doing is starting a conversation. That's not saying, hey, I need to sell you something, right? But our excitement about what we do and how we feel should be our business card. That should be our calling card. And people should see that and know that, because even if they're not ready right now, like I know Nikki had a response today from one of her messages that she sent out. And the girl was like, I totally love watching what you're doing, but I'm not interested in learning more right now. But I thought what was cool is that she's watching. Like she is absolutely watching everything Nikki's doing. And so even just by saying hi, like Stacy said hi the other day, then what did that do? That got that lady to click over on her Facebook and scroll through and see what Stacy's doing, right? So starting the conversation and just saying hi to people is how you open your doors for business. And that does not have to be a sales pitch right up front. We don't want it to be a sales pitch right up front, but we do want you to have conversations ongoing all the time, because that is when you get to help people. And that is when you get to actually impact your health, your paycheck, their lives, whatever it is that you're here for. It's kind of like the only way around it. Now, I will tell you, I had this thought after Kristen and I talked the other day about this, because there are some things that I do. You guys, I still have a hard time like just sitting down to message. Like my brain will pick any activity. Like I will fold laundry before I send messages. Like my brain wants to distract me from messaging so well. And I know that's a problem, and I recognize that that's a problem. So what I had some of Team PCS suggested to me one time. They said at the beginning of the month, set your goal of how many messages or how many orders you're going to, whatever your goal is, however many messages you need to send that month. set that goal, break it down into weekly things. And she said, and then I want you to pick a company or a organization or something that you despise, like something that just stirs your blood and like makes you boil. And at the time it was a specific company that was just so obnoxious that I was like, done. I know exactly what company that I picked. And she said, now I want you to write a check out to them. And it can be for $100. It could be for $500. It could be for $1,000, whatever it is. Write a check out to them at the beginning of the month. And if you have not completed what you set out to do this month, then you have to mail that check in. And I was like, oh, heck no, they're not getting my money. And she was like, exactly. That's what you need. So find your motivation for whatever it is, whether it's you're motivated because you don't want to lose your money, if it's motivated because somebody else is getting your customers when you should be getting those customers, like whatever it is, or if it's just motivated because you really, really love people and you really, really want to help them, you have to set an intention and you have to follow through with it. So I actually used that trick 3 months in a row because that's what it took for me to like really get consistent and good about it. I mean, it got to those last 5 days of the month and I was like, oh heck no, that company's not getting my check. And you better believe I was on fire sending out messages, which was awesome. It set the next month up for success. It was great. But do whatever you need to do to find that motivation to do it.
I love that. Awesome. Thanks, Kels. And that totally reminded me of something else that I wanted to talk about with messaging is, okay, so we all have the same 24 hours in a day. I know that some of you guys work, full-time jobs, crazy schedules, have kids, have these really, really busy lives. You heard Stacy say that she gets up at 5:30 in the morning and does her power hour. I'm not suggesting, which is awesome, by the way. That's like my goal in life.
She can be our breakfast club leader when we start that up.
Right, totally. So I'm not saying that you guys have to get up at 5:30 in the morning unless you really want to, but there's definitely like a time management piece to messaging people, which I think that I've mastered really well because I have never been somebody that would block out time to do my business until I had Lucy. I never blocked out time to do my business. I always did business on the fly. So I did things while I was doing other things and I always made it work. And so I'm telling you guys from somebody who never planned her day that it is really easy to get messages out because especially if your upline is giving you messages, all you have to do is copy, paste, send, maybe change a word or two. If to send out, maybe 5 messages, it should take you about 10 minutes. You can do that in the bathroom. I'm not kidding. Right? Like, and if you're a mom, you know that like sitting on the toilet is like your own quiet time. Like it's amazing what you can get done. If you're at the office, take your phone in the bathroom with you after lunch. Like you can do stuff on the phone. I mean, I know that sounds silly, but it's a reality, or while you're eating lunch, send out 1 or 2 messages as you're, eating your salad. It's really, really, really easy. When you're, for me in line at carpool, I'll get to the carpool line 5 or 10 minutes early and send those couple follow-up messages that I meant to send. Or I'll give myself 5 or 10 minutes before I go into the gym and I'm sitting in my car. It doesn't take a lot of time, but I had a call with Joy 2 nights ago and this was her phrase, you have to do the thing. So instead of thinking about why you're not doing it or trying to figure out why, like what your why is or why you're not motivated or whatever, forget it. Don't figure it out. Just do the thing. So if you're trying to figure out like, why am I not messaging these people? Like, what's my hang up? Why, no, stop. You're never going to figure it out. Just do the thing. That's what Joy says. That's her motto. Just do the thing.
I love that. I love that.
Right. So just do it. Just do it. Like I don't love messaging, but again, it's a form of communication. So you just kind of have to like get comfortable with it and just remember to put on your professional hat and realize that you are, and this is a really good reminder too, and I think that everybody needs to hear this multiple times. It takes anywhere from 5 to 8 exposures to Juice Plus before somebody says yes to it. 5, and it's not just Juice Plus, that's in any sales world. That's in insurance, real estate, network marketing, and everything. It takes 5 to 8 exposures for somebody before they say yes. Think about like even like a pair of shoes. Like I would see a pair of shoes, look at them online, contemplate it. Like it takes multiple exposures to buy something. So you sending one message to person is not always going to cut it. you might need to send them another message and ask them how their weekend was, and keep the conversation open, keep the communication going, and then they may see something you post on social media, and then maybe you invite them to a call, but they can't get on, but that's fine because, you've exposed them to it, you've invited them to it. And maybe you send them a short video. Then maybe you follow up and see what they liked about the video. Then maybe you follow up and see how their weekend was. Then maybe, 5 days later you say, hey, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to drop the ball on this. I wanted to know, I know that you said you were really interested in possibly getting started on Juice Plus. I think it could really help you because you mentioned that you have really low energy and you're trying to detox your system. Is this something that you can see yourself getting started on? And so sometimes it's like that trail of conversations that leads to it, but it can take a while or it can happen really fast, but the conversation needs to happen and it needs to continue. But remember, you're putting your professional hat on when you do it. So you're not bugging them, you're not harassing them, you're doing your job and following up with them.
And there's two things you just said that I really, really like. So it is a relationship, right? You're building relationship, even if it's starting from, hey, like I haven't talked to you in 10 years. How's life? Like, even if that's where you're starting, you're rebuilding that relationship to where you can then offer help, be of value, right? That's what we want. So that was like number one, is that just because you message them doesn't mean they're going to be excited about Juice Plus yet, but that's okay. Like, so like with Nikki's girl, it was like, no, it's okay. I'm cool watching it, and be like, that's awesome. Like, what are you doing? Like for your health or whatever, just ask another question that leads to another question. But then also Kristen and I don't know if you touched on this yet or if you're about to, but she just had her closer, right? Like she actually asked for the purchase for the sale, and she didn't do it in like a pushy, spammy way. She just said, hey, like you mentioned that this is something that you wanted, so like let me help you do that. But she had to ask for that. It's very, very rare that somebody just comes at you and is like, hey, okay, I want this, here's my credit card, right? Like that's part of our job too, is asking that like potentially awkward, like, hey, you want to get started? It doesn't have to be awkward though. It just is you putting on your professional hat. Okay.
Why did you stop?
Because I feel like I totally interrupted you again.
No.
And you were like going to wrap it all up and be amazing. Like you always are. Like you're so distinct and I ramble. I mean, you guys know this. You can tell by our teaching that it's different. Kristen's like, boom, boom, boom. I'm very articulate and everything is great and sounds amazing. And I'm like, is that scripted? Did she write that somewhere? Like, it stresses me out. It's so awesome.
I've been told that's the East Coast in me, which is really funny, like very direct. But that is something. So I don't think Mel's on the call. She usually works on Tuesday nights. But so I'm using Mel. Hi, I know you're watching the recording. I'm using Mel as the example. She had been having this great conversation with this girl, and she was telling me about it, and she had been messaging back and forth with her. And it seemed like the girl was really ready. And she was like, I haven't gotten an order yet. And I said, okay. And I'm trying to kind of thinking. And I was like, she used the verbiage that I sent her. And it finally occurred to me. I said, did you ask her a closing question? And I said, did you ask her like, hey, does this sound like something you're ready to get started on? Or, would you want to join our June 1st shred? Are you ready to place an order? And she went back through our conversations and she was like, I didn't. So the truth of the matter is, you guys, probably 3% of the people that you talk to are going to do what Kelsey said and be like, I'm ready to get started. What do I have to do? Here's my card. 97% of people have to be asked. And that's just the reality. And if you just remember those numbers, and if they say, no, I'm not ready right now, you can say, okay, that's no problem. Would it be okay if I kind of checked in with you next month to see how you're doing? It's courtesy, right? Yeah, absolutely. Check in with me. And sometimes they might say like, no, I'll just let you know when I'm ready. And you're like, totally cool. No problem. And then just keep shining on them and loving on them. But you're never going to know if you don't ask the question. And sometimes I think that's why people leave it open-ended, because they're scared of hearing the word no. But remember, it's okay to hear no. And the more no's that you hear, you're going to get to a yes. So you have to remember to close the loop, right? To ask that closing question that's going to get a direct yes or no answer from them. And then you can either put their order in or you can move on from them. But it closes the loop, and that's super, super important with messaging. Okay, and then I also wanted to touch on, let me pull it up here, because Kelsey had posted, if you guys all, and you guys, I know that sometimes we post a lot of things in the Strong as a Mother Facebook group, but it's really, really, really important that you guys read them. And this is just kind of a plug for it, because I know that a couple times a few people had like missed something, or I mentioned something and they had no idea what I was talking about. And I was like, it was in the message. So I know that sometimes there's a lot of stuff that comes through, but that one, we really try and only put things in the Strong as a Mother Facebook group that really are pertinent, that you really should know. That's really important, like a deposit for conference. So if you're going to conference, please make sure you scroll back up and read that. Kelsey and I have already paid a lot of money for these condos, so we need that to make sure that we know who's coming, so we have enough space for everyone.
Mostly, I'm just afraid we're going to run out of room, you guys. Like, we have so many people that are like, yes, I already have my conference ticket. I already bought it. I'm like, great, but you don't have a bed to sleep in until you give me that. And I don't want to run out of space. Like, that is legit my thing. Like, if we need to start looking for extra space, we need to have time to be able to do that. So that's really what it is. We're so excited.
Exactly. Okay, so messaging. Some of you guys are trying to shoot for VF this month. Some of you are trying to shoot for the Fast Track to SC, and some of you are really taking on these last 10 days of the month that we were talking about, this shred your business. Okay, so these last 10 days, it's only 10 days, you guys. Like, you can do anything for 10 days, really hitting it hard these last 10 days in your business, because your paycheck is on the line. If you want a good paycheck at the end of the month, let's crush the business, right? So Kelsey posted a great verbiage on there, and I will copy and paste it onto because Fran, you're not on Facebook, which is totally fine. I will copy and paste it into our Voxer group, but to use this message that she posted on here and send it out to people. And I think that everybody should take on that homework assignment, because again, here's somebody who's been in the business. It's from Mitra. We're spoon feeding you verbiage. Why not send it out, right? So I think that's going to be a really great challenge for everybody to do, is to copy and paste that verbiage. You're welcome to tweak it slightly so it sounds more like you. But I think that's like a really great challenge, you guys. And remember, if people don't respond, it's totally okay. I can't tell you how many times I've been ghosted in the last 5.5 years. Like, if I told new people how many times I got ghosted, you would be appalled. But it's fine. It's totally fine, because eventually those people will respond back to you. And remember, it doesn't always have to be about Juice Plus. It's relationships. You know, hey, how's your family? How was your weekend? I saw your mom's in the hospital. Is she okay? You know, I saw your daughter's graduation pictures. She looks so cute. You know, like, love on people. That's what, you know, people need to be loved on. And we do that in so many ways. We do it with Juice Plus, but they need to be loved on in a lot of ways. So affirm, you know, give people affirmations, love on them, compliment them, lift them up, you know, shine on them. Okay, 9:30 on the dot. Who has questions? No one?
You guys, I'm not going to lie. So, okay, let's talk numbers. Let's be real about numbers here. So I am shooting for 15 to 20 messages a day with starting those conversations, because we know it is a numbers game. People are not numbers, but the amount of messages we have to send out it turns into a numbers game, because we know statistically that if I send out 20 messages a day, I'm probably going to, once it all whittles down, like, some people are going to respond, it's going to be fine. But like, at the end of the day, I'm probably going to have maybe 2 people that I'm having a really good conversation with, like, and that's on a good day, right? So just keep sending it. Like, even if it's a, hey, how's it going message, but like, this 10 days, we want to be very direct and very specific, and that's okay. And so, if they say no, not interested, just keep the conversation going. Okay. Don't let it just fall off, because then that's going to leave them with the feeling that they absolutely are just a sales pitch to you. And you don't want that. You don't want them to feel like, walk away feeling like that. So definitely keep the conversation rolling into another thing. But I'm shooting for 15 to 20. I don't know, Kristen, how many are you shooting for a day?
So.
Ooh, you guys, this is Kristen Blumen being indecisive right now. What is going to happen?
Okay. So I will say, this is, so you guys, some of you may or may not know, I'm doing, Fran knows, LinkedIn recruiting. So I'm sending out a crud ton of messages via LinkedIn. But I cannot rely on LinkedIn. So, and this is something that Kelsey and I have talked about. So I have to push, I've been very comfortable with LinkedIn, because it's something that I've been doing every day. And like, it's really easy to send out these messages and So I need to like do more relationship building. instead of just like prospecting people and really try and hit people up that I know. I don't like that term. I'm going to retract that. And I'm not going to hit people up. I'm going to reach out to people that I know and just try and really build more relationships with them. So I'm probably going to do, in addition to LinkedIn recruiting, probably 5 to 10 personal reach outs a day.
Cool. Stacy, how many are you doing? I don't need to ask everybody. I know Stacy's doing the Team Z boot camp. So I was curious, how many messages are you sending out each day?
Well, my goal was like 3, I think it was 3 prospects.
It's like 3, 3, and 3 or something like that.
I think so. But I've been doing like 15. I think today I did 20.
Great.
There we go.
I just keep, I'm going to send that person.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to send that person. And I just keep messaging.
Exactly. And but once you get comfortable with it, right? Once you get into that routine again, which it's been a long time since we've been that consistent with messaging. And so, but once you get back into it, it just becomes more natural and more comfortable. And so just do it, you guys, like just do the thing. Even if it's really uncomfortable, do the thing and it will get so much easier as you go. So.
And
awesome.
I want to add something too, and I'm not trying to water this down, but I know you guys just heard some big numbers from the 3 of us, between 5 to 20 messages a day, and that might seem really scary to some of you. You don't have to send 5 to 20 messages, 15 to 20 messages a day. We understand that we're at a point in our business where we have to do that many messages. We want you to do, and I want you guys to listen to this phrase I'm about to say and take it to heart, is I want you to do something that you are, is attainable, but very uncomfortable. So if you're like, oh, I could easily send 3 a day, done. Do more, because that's going to get you out of that comfort zone. So, just try and send out, touch your business daily, try and send out, a few messages a day. But the reality is the more messages you send, the higher probability you're going to have of getting orders and having great conversations with people. So whatever you feel good about sending, up that number by like maybe 3. So if like 5 feels really good, you're like, I'm good with 5, try 8. So try and push yourself a little bit, because then you're going to be really amazed at how quick and effective it was. And you're going to be shocked at how you're gonna be like, I can't believe I was doing 3. 8 is so easy. So just don't be afraid to kind of get uncomfortable. Attainable, but uncomfortable.
Cool.
You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And again, you guys, lean on your upline. If you need help messaging, they are here for you. We want to help you. We like to help you. We like sending messages with you. Please reach out to us. All right. See you guys later.
All right. We'll see you.